I want to share something with you that may help your cakes look more unique and visually interesting. Now, typically, when we decorate a cake, we contour the decorations to the side of the cake, like I did in these cakes. You can see that they are wrapped around the cake, and it still looks really nice, but there are other options. Now, I recently made this hip hop cake, and it has some flat decorations along with some decorations that contour to the side of the cake. Now, to start, I put Tylose powder in all of my fondant. I only make marshmallow fondant. If I use store-bought fondant is way too soft, and even with this Tylose powder added, it still doesn't set as hard as marshmallow fondant. So all of these pieces that I show you are marshmallow fondant with this Tylose added, which helps it set hard so it can hold its shape and stand on its own. So I always make my decorations in advance and let them dry, and there are three ways that you can let them dry. Number one, you can contour it to the shape of the cake. I'm putting this on a 10-inch cake, so I let that dry on a 10-inch cake dummy. The second option is to let them dry flat. So flat decorations stick off of the cake a little bit and add some visual interest. And the third option is to leave them in a Ziploc bag. This way the decorations remain pliable and you can contour them to the shape of the cake when you put them on there. This is good if you don't have cake dummies to let them dry on. So you can see I left this name on the cake dummy and it dried with a curve to it, so it contours to the shape of this cake. And to put it on the cake, I'm just going to get a little bit of buttercream icing in the center. And then I like to get a little bit of piping gel all around the edges. This way the icing isn't going to seep out when I adhere it to the cake and it's going to look nice and neat. So now I want to take the decorations that were in the Ziploc bag out, and you can see because it was in the bag and not exposed to air, it remains pliable. So now I'm going to get a little bit of icing on the back and some piping gel around the edges. And you can see as I put this on the cake, since it's still pliable, it contours to the shape of the cake. And then with the flat decorations, I like to hold them up against the cake and see where they look best. Then I get a little bit of icing behind each one and press them down. So for these flat decorations, I pay attention to where it's touching the cake, get a little bit of icing behind it, and then adhere it to the cake. So here is the finished design, and you can see that some decorations contour to the shape of the cake and some stick out, which gives it a little bit more visual interest. So I want to show you some examples. This cake, I have mostly flat decorations so they can really pop. However, I usually do a combination of flat and contoured decorations. So on this cake, the lettering and that shoe on the bottom are all flat, but the other decorations contour to the shape of the cake. And then on this one, the pencil on the left dried flat, but that art palette on the right, I wanted it to contour so it can easily stick to the cake. And then this Elmo cake, the polka dots are contoured to the shape of the cake, but I wanted that sign to dry flat so it would pop out and give a little bit more visual interest. And I like to do the same thing with edible images. So the Iron Man lettering and the Iron Man images all dried flat so they can kind of stick off of the cake. Same with this one. It just makes it look a little bit more modern and not so predictable. And there are no rules as to which decorations have to be flat. However, I like to do, like you can see that iPhone on the bottom. iPhones are flat, so I made that decoration flat and I made the other ones contour to the shape of the cake. So it all depends on what you want to do for your cake and the aesthetic that you're going for. Now, I do have a video where I give 8 other reasons why your cakes look amateur, so you might want to check that out. And I also have a video showing you how to make the hip hop cake that I showed earlier. And if you want me to help you elevate your cakes to the next level, you can join my Cake Academy. The link to join is in my bio or in the description, and make sure you follow or subscribe for more cake decorating tips.